Your chest actually hurts, not metaphorically, not as a figure of speech. Somewhere behind your ribs, there's a real physical ache, and all that happened was a text left unread, a joke that fell flat in the group chat, a friend who didn't save you a seat. Nothing touched your body, and yet your body is responding like something did. That ache is not in your head. It is not an exaggeration. It is one of the strangest, most literal overlaps in all of human biology. Here's the claim, and it sounds almost too strange to be true. Rejection and physical injury are processed by your brain using nearly the same circuitry, not similar circuitry, nearly the same. When someone you love pulls away, when a group leaves you out, when a message goes unanswered for too long, your brain lights up in the same regions it would light up if someone had physically hurt you. The neuroscientist Naomi Eisenberger ran an experiment that changed how psychologists think about pain itself. She put people into a brain scanner and had them play a simple virtual ball-tossing game with two other players they believed were real, in another room. For a while, the ball went around evenly. Then, without warning, the other two players stopped throwing it to the person in the scanner. Nothing was said, no insult. No confrontation, just silence and a ball that no longer came their way. Eisenberger found that this small, wordless exclusion activated the same brain region that activates during physical pain, the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex. The more excluded someone felt, the more that region lit up. Being left out didn't just feel bad, it registered neurologically as injury. Why would evolution build it this way? Why would your brain treat a broken friendship the same way it treats a broken bone? The psychologist Geoff MacDonald has an answer, and it reframes the entire question. Pain, physical pain, exists for one simple reason. It's an alarm system forcing you to stop what you're doing and protect a part of your body that's been damaged. MacDonald's theory is that social pain evolved by hijacking that exact same alarm system because for most of human history, social disconnection was just as dangerous as physical injury, sometimes more dangerous. A person exiled from their group didn't just feel bad, they lost access to food, protection, shared warmth, and the collective vigilance of a tribe. Alone, unprotected, and unsupported, an exiled human's odds of survival dropped sharply. If a twisted ankle deserved a pain response urgent enough to make you stop and rest, then losing your entire support network deserved, if anything, an even louder alarm. So evolution didn't build a separate system for social hurt. It borrowed the oldest, most reliable alarm it already had and pointed it at a new kind of threat. This explains something that used to be treated as a purely poetic exaggeration: heartbreak. The tightness in your chest after a breakup, the hollow ache after a friendship ends, the physical weight that seems to settle onto your shoulders after being excluded. These sensations aren't your imagination running wild. They're your ancient pain circuitry, doing exactly what it was built to do, responding to a threat that, for nearly all of human history, was measured in matters of life and death. The psychologist Roy Baumeister spent decades building the case that humans have a fundamental need to belong, not as a nice-to-have, not as an emotional preference, but as something close to a biological requirement, sitting right alongside food and safety. Baumeister argued that this need to belong shaped nearly everything about how human minds evolved: our emotions, our reasoning, even our sense of self. A creature that didn't care about belonging, that felt nothing when the group turned away, would have been a creature poorly equipped to survive in a world where survival was almost always a group effort. So, caring deeply and painfully became the default setting, which means that ache you feel when someone doesn't text back isn't oversensitivity. It's an ancient, load-bearing part of what makes you human, working exactly as intended, just aimed at situations your ancestors never could have imagined. A read receipt with no reply, an unfollow you noticed a week too late, a meme sent to everyone in the group chat except you. Here's where the mismatch gets almost cruel. Your ancestors' rejections were rare and they were enormous. Being cast out of a tribe of 30 people was a once-in-a-lifetime catastrophe, not a Tuesday. The alarm was built to fire loudly but infrequently for events that genuinely threatened survival. Modern life, on the other hand, manufactures tiny rejections constantly. A like that never comes, a friend request left pending, a joke that gets no response in a group of people who definitely saw it. None of these threaten your survival in any real sense, but your alarm system doesn't know that. It was never given the update. It still fires at full volume every single time, because for most of its evolutionary history, that was the only volume it had. There's something almost tender in this, if you sit with it long enough. The same system that makes rejection hurt is the same system that makes connection feel so good, that makes a returned message, a saved seat, a friend who shows up feel like relief flooding back into your chest. You don't get one without the other. A brain wired to feel pain from disconnection is, by necessity, a brain wired to feel enormous reward from belonging. The ache and the warmth are two settings on the exact same dial. This doesn't mean rejection stops hurting once you understand where the hurt comes from. It still will, but it changes what that hurt is evidence of. It isn't proof that you're too sensitive, too needy, or somehow broken for feeling wounded by something as small as silence. It's proof that an extraordinarily old, extraordinarily well-preserved part of you is still doing its job, treating your social bonds as if they were as vital as your own body, because for nearly the entire history of your species, they were. So the next time your chest tightens after being left out, after being unanswered, after being quietly, wordlessly excluded, remember what's actually happening underneath. You are not overreacting. Your chest actually hurts, and it isn't a metaphor. It's the oldest alarm in your body, still standing guard over the one thing it was built to protect above almost everything else, your place among your people.